We will now move on to focus on sustainable manufacturing, why climate-smart choices begin with the right configurator. And we start this session with a video to introduce us to this topic. It's now my pleasure to introduce Bo Gyldenvagn from Tacton. He is CEO, and he's formerly COO of Software AG Americas. And Bo Gyldenvagn is spearheading sustainable solutions for Tacton and other forward-thinking businesses as well. And is with us here, and please join me here on stage, Bo.
I'll do this one here.
And you have the floor, Bo.
What?
You have the floor. Okay.
I got it here. Okay, very good. Thank you. Yeah. So I'm actually quite excited to be here. 50 years ago, I had no hair either because I wasn't born. So, but it's amazing that this is 50 years ago. And just imagine that just a few years before that, the first man was doing the moonwalk in 1969, had a very nice view of the Earth to look at it as a kind of a single organism that was worth to preserve. And that's where we are today. So manufacturing industry is the foundation to today's society. Just look around you. I brought something here. But this is not how most of people think about it, since it's detached to the ordinary life for many. There's a limited number of products that are handmade or tailor-made without participation of upstream from raw material extractions and then manufacturing. However, manufacturing industry accounts today for approximately 20% of the global greenhouse gas emissions. And as we just heard earlier on the previous, 7% is from the steel manufacturing. That's around a third of whatever the industrial manufacturing is consumed of emissions. So it's only 8 years ago, it's only 8 years from now in 2030, where many organizations are aiming to reach their climate targets, aiming for carbon neutrality, and also a few even going for net positive impact. And just as a reminder, in late 2015, the world set 17 very ambitious sustainability development goals with some deadlines in 2030. Of course, business is part of the society, and we will contribute. This is the reason for many commercial organizations has 2030 as the deadline as well. I'm leading Tacton. It's a software company headquartered here in Sweden, and we act between the industrial manufacturers and the buyers of their products. And actually, we have several of our customers on stage today, so which is also very nice to hear that. And our customers are, or they sell to end users, are also public institutions, as we talked about, Department of Transportation, etc. We are the global leader in configure, price, quote software, and we assist manufacturers to implement and use configure, price, quote software, as we described in the intro. And CPQ is suitable for products that comes in many variances and configurations, very complex, large equipments, like, for example, this one, a truck, could be a power station, it could be any kind of really large piece of equipment, water pumps, elevators. So our vision at Tacton is to enable manufacturers to shape and build the future. Our goal is to have manufacturers to build more sustainable products and in return for that, get more sustainable societies. configure price quote software have the possibility to show the differences in price and component selection for different configurations, different flavors of the same product. So you may think, why I'm here pitching a product, a piece of software product. The reason why I'm here is actually we want to demonstrate, I think we all want, that we can all make a difference. And the value chain is so important to build into the whole picture when you're configuring a product. We are aiming to include environmental features into the software, eventually to also include the social aspect in the upstream supply chain when that is handled. The impact of using a CPQ solution is like what is achieved, for example, with an eco-label in the private consumers, where you got the Energy Star, you got the Fair Trade, and so on. One of the aims is to make it simpler, more simple for buyers and end users to select products having environmental in mind. So the configurator enables informed choices, so the end user and the customers can actually make the right decisions on the right time, and not only to get the optimal price, but also to pick the right environmental product. We believe customers will demand to get the choice. It will not be a nice to have, it will be a need to have. And that's actually how we approach this. And you already see it today. You see it when you're buying an airline ticket, when you're buying a car, or you're buying a household electronics. You have that choice to pick a sustainable product versus another. Maybe it's slightly cheaper for the non-sustainable product, but you could also pick one that is more sustainable. That's what we want to drive into complex manufacturing. We also believe that the more transparent you become in pricing or your emission to produce a product from a life cycle perspective, we are going to drive innovation. We believe that manufacturers, when they are being extremely transparent, when they configure products, then they will have a way to optimize how they develop their products, because their customers will simply ask for more sustainable products. So we also believe this is going to drive much more innovation, simply just by putting transparency into how you quote to your customers. So what we are aiming for now is actually to have the 2030 goals. The 2030 goals, as I mentioned in the beginning, where we want to be able to sell more of the environmental best products. So actually, build in the whole value chain into when you price a product. To illustrate, for example, we have this product. There's a selection point where the end user can actually, for instance, ask for a certain level of recycled content. Could be a different kind of plastic, or it could be a different kind of metal that goes into that product. It will have different environmental impact. Our aim is to have the full life cycle built into the quoting and into the pricing of a product. And we want to have that displayed in the quoting system. So when you price for a customer, you can actually have full transparency and full visibility into this. So the resulting difference in price is one of the standard features in CPQ today. And as the circular economy takes off, recycled material should be better priced than the new ones, actually. If the feature compared was energy usage during the lifetime, for example, an electric engine versus a diesel engine, then that should be visible. We also believe manufacturers will move closer to the end customers. So that's also a trend we see in the market, where manufacturers start to sell their product as a subscription. Because manufacturers need to commit to the life cycle emission of a product. And they can only do that by moving closer to the product, closer to the end user, and manage that life cycle of the product. So, as an additional benefit for manufacturers, CPQ solution helps them with a compliance-related report that has to happen in the future as well. manufacturers, they need to report and they need to measure themselves from a sustainability angle as well. By building it into the quoting system and the pricing system, you can actually have that reporting done automatically. That's our ambition as well, to build it into the CPQ solution. So, before we go into our panel, let me just emphasize that manufacturing is the base of most things in the modern society today. It causes a big part of the global greenhouse gas emissions, impacting the climate. And let smart technology like the one we provide enable those that select the escalators or the mobile infrastructure that we use to broadcast this session as well. But enable those to watch online to do so, to enable buyers of industry products to make the best choices by articulating the environmental impact of their choices. Now, Katarina, I think we got a panel now.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Bo. Please take a seat in the chair over there, and you'll be joined by some colleagues here or some other experts. Madeleine Bergrahm, Tacton Sustainability Manager, please join me here on stage. Irene Campo-Gay, Technical University Denmark, PhD student, will also be joining us. And Ksenia Gabajenka, PlusPack Group Sustainability Manager. And they will be with us via Zoom. So let's see if we can turn around and watch your colleagues or other experts here. There they are. Excellent. Welcome, both of you. Maybe, Bo, if you want to sit in that chair, you can see a little bit better. You don't have to twist your entire torso to see this. So great to have you with us here. I'll give you a little bit of a better introduction here. Madeleine, you're a sustainability manager at Tacton, and you're exploring how sustainability can be a facilitator and be realized in all your manufacturers and how they move towards what Bo mentioned, a more circular economy. Yep. And Irene, as a PhD researcher at the Technical University of Denmark, you're specialized in product configuration systems and also mass customization solutions. Correct. Excellent. Yes. And Ksenia, you're a group sustainability manager at PlusPack, leading strategic projects with a focus on sustainability in line with circular economy. So terrific. So I'd like to start with you joining us here on Zoom. How do you see, after having listened to Bo here, the configurator, it's a difficult word, configurator, to enable more sustainable manufacturing in the industry? Would you like to start, Ksenia?
Yeah, sure, I can do that. First of all, thank you for the invitation for this very exciting topic. I would actually say I completely agree with what already mentioned by the previous speaker. Configurator is the way the future is going to be done with regards to digitalization and integration with sustainability. We do already apply the CPQ in our manufacturing process or in our product design process. And we can see all the advantages of being able to show the customers the solutions, the possibilities they can choose from, and also the kind of already environmental impact that is associated with those. And we can also see that this is also the way they are requesting it to be done. They want to get facts, they want to get data, they want to get this transparency, not only on pricing, not only on the physical features, but actually what it means to produce this product. So I agree, this is the way forward, and this is completely in line what PlusPack is also going to achieve, is actually to integrate this configurator in the sustainability progress.
Well, thank you very much. How about you, Irene? What is your take on this aspect of transforming the industry?
Yeah, so first I want to say it's a pleasure to be here with you today. And yes, it's certain what you were saying now. Configurations, I believe they will play a very significant role, as they have already been doing in certain other aspects. But now with the sustainability assessment side of configurators, we will be able to assess customers and to guide them into more sustainable solutions. But also we will be able to automate the process of environmental impact quantification and even automate the certified impact quantifications. So we will be able to use standardized and digitalized ways of calculating environmental impact.
Thank you very much, Irene. I'm turning now to you, Madeleine. Your thoughts after having listened to Bo and to Irene and to Ksenia.
I think it's really, this is the right time. Because as Bo said, that the manufacturing industry has such a huge impact, I mean, both for good and, of course, the way we use things that are manufactured, but also on the environment. So this is the right time to kind of move from, because I've been working before with, dual-use products, both consumer and professional products. And for these, we see today the type of, declarations that articulate the environmental impact when you use it and so on. And you mentioned a few of those labelings, so to say. And I think the CPQ system can articulate at the right point in time environmental features and the difference between two very similar configurations. So I think the timing is right, and I really enjoyed listening to both of our speakers here also, mentioning transparency, for instance, that it brings transparency.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Bo, maybe a more complicated question here. The challenges with getting the benefits from the CPQ and ordering tool where the environmental features for different product configurations are shown. What are the challenges here at hand?
Well, first of all, some of the challenges we face to build these functionalities into the solution is we need to get a little bit more clarity on the regulations. Because that's going to drive much of the behavior and what of the data that we need to provide. So regulations are definitely something we want to get absolute clarity about. Then the next challenge is to get the data. Because imagine we work with customers who have millions or billions of different components that they need to manufacture or configure into one product. And you can probably imagine the many variances they can build, and to build that exact number based on all these different variances means that we need to have data on every single component. So you can understand both the emission of producing the product, but also the life cycle impact of that specific configuration. And that to get that data into the solution as well. That these are the two things that we are working with. There are solutions, and there is we can see that it's coming on both of those challenges, but this is what we deal with right now.
I can tell, Ksenia, you're nodding up there. Do you recognize these challenges?
Completely, because not because we have already the sustainability parameter in the CPQ, but these are the challenges we are facing already now when we talk to the customers. We're selling to more than 50 countries around the world, and each and individual country, they have these different regulations. So if we will be able to combine everything in one tool and do it so customer specific as possible, that would be great. And in addition to that, data, yes, it's not easy to get access to all the data. But again, we can start just where we are. It's the generic databases which are available. It's already good. And I think, again, we don't have to be afraid to be transparent in this case and say, this is what we're using as a data. Let's just start there, because the direction will be anyway clear, and then you can still work on that. So just keep it very transparent and easy until this is what we have, and we are working on it. But I agree, these are two very, very big challenges we are facing as well.
Thank you very much. Irene, from your researcher perspective, how does this sound? Do you recognize the challenges, and do you maybe even have some data on it?
Yes, definitely. I mean, it's this possibly lack of data that might seem challenging in this kind of projects. But at the same time, it's this new legislation and new laws that we're expecting, new recommendations that we're expected to take place very soon, the ones that will also drive the development of this data and that will make this kind of projects possible. And through them also, we need to establish a clear goal of the project. And as Ksenia was saying, we just need to get started with something and then from there be evolving and get a more complete project.
Thank you very much. Yes, please go ahead.
Regarding challenges, I think also it's important, the users, I mean, the people that are using the CPQ to configure whatever they want to buy, they are used to having like very precise data. The price is precise, the measurements are precise to the inch or the centimeter, and then we're going to hope to be able to show them, the environmental impact, but that's not going to be precise. So from the user perspective, there is a challenge to kind of, it's difficult to make them, accept this, maybe. I see this as from a user perspective.
And what solutions are we looking at here?
Well, I guess that as the data becomes better and better, we can say that the quality of the data is better and better. But that's a kind of a common effort from research and from industry because all of these data comes from databases and all of the different players cooperate to bring data to these databases, and with time they're going to be more and more precise also.
So I have a more overall question here. Why now? Why not earlier? Would you like to start, Bo?
Well, there's definitely much momentum right now. So that's that. So a lot of people are listening to this. So that drives a lot of the agenda. But I also believe that I can say from our perspective, we are now at a point of time where the solution from our side is so sophisticated now that we can literally on the fly, when you configure a product, immediately both visualize the impact when you change a product, but you could also, if you change one component, what is the price difference? And just imagine that you at the same time could get the sustainability impact in runtime. So you sit there in front of your screen and you're literally building a power plant. You're buying a new truck for 100,000 euros, and you can literally visualize and you can get the price and you can get the environmental impact of your choices instantly.
So
that's where
really
we are today.
Upstream. It's really upstream. It's in the design phase even.
The what? Sorry?
It's upstream. It's already in the design phase. You don't have to make the mistakes because you see them.
The thing is that we are now at a state you cannot make mistakes, but we just need 100% transparency, and we need to make it available for the end users and the customers to make deliberate choices about how much do they want to invest, and how is this going to impact their sustainability goals. And that's where we are now. So actually, when we got the data and we have the regulations in place, we are so close to actually deliver this nirvana, which is a dream for us to be able to deliver to our customers.
So I'm turning to you, Irene. What if you look at a global perspective, if we really get this going fully, what impact can this have, for the planet? It's a big question.
Very huge impact, isn't it? I mean, through this kind of tools, we can make this sustainability information available to the customers. That it's what they are demanding, and they are demanding this because there hasn't been such a great focus in sustainability before, right? So it's this, and in my opinion, also this new demand on getting new assessment tools in order to reach these new levels or new objectives towards sustainable regulations. So we need some kind of assessment tools, such as configurators, that will guide us in this.
And it's about credibility and also about transparency. Ksenia, you addressed the topic transparency before. Would you like to elaborate what this can entail, this configuration tool, in terms of transparency?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, the transparency in itself can be quite vulnerable. Bo has mentioned that before, and you have also mentioned yourself, is that not everyone is so keen to show actually what it means to produce one another product, both in cost of in pricing or the materials. The pricing is also always vulnerable, but when you go and talk about the carbon footprint or CO2 emissions, here it becomes even more sensible, because especially some of the materials, and you know that many of the manufacturers, they know that the metals, they are quite high in CO2 emissions. And by showing that directly to the customers, even maybe without that filter, can be quite, wow, it's a bit challenging, but you need to actually learn to handle it. You need to learn to talk to it. You need to explain why it's necessary to go through all the steps, not only concentrating on the materials, even though we know that 70 or 80% of the CO2 emissions is already locked in the design phase. You really need to do the talking. You choose the material, but you have also to look into the complete life cycle analysis, as it also already was mentioned, and really do the education, if you can say so, because at the end of life, these very high or very carbon emitting materials, they actually will play a major role, and it will be a very good for environment. But we just need to learn to tackle it. It's a bit challenging, and we can also see it in our company that not everyone is comfortable about the showing the real emissions about the raw materials, the real consequences of the CO2 emissions. But we just need to do that. We can't hide from it. It's something that we need to be quite transparent and just, try to educate everyone. It's a language we need to be aware of.
And also the customers are demanding it more and more, correct?
Exactly. And then maybe just doing it together with the customer, it can be also a bit challenging when you're so transparent, because they can ask you some questions. You have to answer the questions. And it's a challenging task, but they're demanding it. You're right. I mean, from our experience, we can already see that customers are asking for the specific numbers. And it's not only on already produced items, but also on what they're going to order. So it's there to stay.
It's like a dance, moving nicely together forward into the sunset.
Exactly.
Boom.
I would like to add a bit on that, because
Please go.
that demand is coming. And to many instances, there already. So there are public institutions that won't buy anything from companies that can't give that transparency.
It's procurement rules.
Procurement, yeah. Just imagine that if you're selling a solution and you're saying to a customer, this is the best solution for you, but I can't give you the price because I don't know. Would you buy that?
Probably not.
No. And you're going to see the same on sustainability. If you can't answer that question, they will not buy from you. And when you're in these really large installations of huge equipment that has a huge impact on the environment, it has to be there as well.
And also now we're counting all the scopes and the race to zero and all the calculations. We need to be able to follow it all the way to the end, right?
Exactly.
So Madeleine, will this be applicable for all types of industries or just certain industries?
I think the thinking is, of course, applicable to articulate the environmental features when you do at the point of decision point, so to say, and then it depends on our solution is aimed for the more complex products. So
such as,
for instance, a truck or like a water pump or like the heat exchanger over here on stage, and so on. So these type of products. So it will be for all, but of course the way to come to the state where a customer can see the difference. That's the different paths to come to that. And that's why we see for products that are smaller and simpler and more, not as complex, maybe it's easier to get this information today.
But we also see that the trend is that customers want more specific products now. So they want, not necessarily customized, but they want it to be tailor-made for their needs. And that's not easy. And that's why having a standard product where you got the standard data, you can provide the data for that. But the minute you start to change a little bit, it's a mess. And we need to figure that out as well. Otherwise, we can't make deliberate choices.
So last question here in this talk about transparency and data, and how do we address collaboration in this transition? Because what you're mentioning here is there is a big need for collaboration, not to make it too messy, right?
No, but there is a big need. And actually, some of the experience we have when we speak to our customers is that we speak to the team that runs the pricing and the quoting so that's the sales part. Then we speak to the sustainability team. They don't know each other. So just by bringing them into the same room, they suddenly figure out we have some shared interest here. And by putting, and that we've seen that a few times, that suddenly then it just starts going, because they can easily see it, but we are talking about huge corporations here where they need to get together, and we are happy to facilitate that. But I'm sure sooner or later they will find each other.
They need to configure their work too, right?
Yeah, yes. We probably need to do that.
Well, thank you so much, Madeleine. Thank you very much, Bo, Ksenia, and Irene, for joining us here and shedding light on this interesting and important topic.